Hey, welcome back to Shining Light Inspirations. I'm your host, Alfia Jackson. I am so excited to be back on the podcast on today. I hope you had a great, awesome weekend, awesome Labor Day weekend. I hope you stayed safe. I hope you relaxed, you had fun, ate good, all that good stuff, whatever you decided to do for your extensive weekend. I hope you are off to a great start. We here at Shining Light Inspiration want to shine some light into your day, your week, your home, your job, on your commute to and from wherever you may be. We here at Shining Light Inspiration would like to shine some light in your life. Wherever there is darkness, if there's a glimpse of light, there's a glimpse of hope. So we are so excited to be back on to just love on you. Do me a favor, because we here at Shine Light Inspiration like to reach the nation one person at a time, starting with you. So you can help me do that by hitting the like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. So every time we do a podcast, you're able to get that notification so we can shine some more light into your life. We can encourage you, inform you, just give you a good refresher, critical thinking, all that good stuff. We do a lot of stuff here just to be great. That's what we want you to do, is just be great. So hit that like, subscribe, share. We're going to reach the nation one person at a time, starting with you. Pay it forward and share with someone else. Don't keep it all to yourself. Don't keep this information to yourself. Today we want to talk about, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to jump right into it. I know you're like, oh, you just went from sharing and everything else, and now we're going to jump right into it. Today we want to talk about self-sabotage. This is a big thing. You say, really? Yeah, it really is. A lot of you are self-sabotaging and don't even call it that. A lot of you self-sabotage and don't even realize that you are. A lot of y'all hit that glass ceiling and fall back down. Instead of breaking the ceiling and saying, you know what, there's more for me. I'm not going to let this be my top. I'm going to bust right through. Some of us hit that ceiling and then we just say, well, maybe that's enough. Maybe that was all that I was, called to do. Maybe, and that's why that scripture says, the laborers, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Because some of us hit that top and we just stop working. We just say, okay, well, I'll just settle right here. We've created this standard. We created this standard, and I don't know who created it, but I know it's one of those big issues, and yes, I will say it, big issues in the Christian community, and I don't know why it's become a Christian standard in some places, not all. So don't be adding me and being in my DM like that's not what we do at my church. I'm just saying, at some places it has become this standard where Christians can't have a nice house, Christians can't have a nice car, Christians can't be successful, everything that we supposed, if we gonna get something big and great, we just gotta wait till we die and get to heaven. We can't have abundance on this side. I don't know. And although our goal is to work towards our heavenly reward, there's nothing in that Bible that says we won't be successful, we can't have greatness, we can't live fulfilled lives while we're here. God said, I came that you may have life and life more abundantly. But sometimes we limit a limitless God. We limit the word that's in the Bible to, if we do more than this, then we're greedy and we're not humble. And I don't look at things from that point of view, because I feel that God has given us dominion, authority, and power. He said we may have life and have life more abundantly. He said if you pay your 10%, then I will open up a window of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive it. And so what happens when God begins to bless you, but you sabotage it because we've got this generational curse of this standard that we don't supposed to go outside of. So we begin to sabotage the blessings and we begin to live miserable lives. Or let's go into this. We sabotage ourselves because of the environment that we're in, because everyone else around us is comfortable where they are, We feel that if we want more, then there's something wrong with us. So then we have this thing called a crab mentality. Well, the crab mentality is that the crabs begin to pull the other crabs back down in the bucket and say, well, if we're not getting out, we should stay down here. It's cool down here. Don't you get out. You're scary out there. Stay right here. I'm not gonna let you go if we all gonna be right here in the same mindset. And that's what we are doing, and that's what makes us self-sabotage, because we begin to feel that, hey, well, if this person is not getting out, and if this person, is comfortable working here, then maybe I should work here, and maybe I shouldn't try to go for a promotion. Maybe I shouldn't start my business because, I don't want, the people that I'm around to think I'm better than them. And I don't want to come off another type of way. Every time I pitch my idea, they kind of just look at me sideways. So maybe I should stay right where I am. And it's like, no, you shouldn't sabotage what you're trying to do just because someone else doesn't approve, or just because someone else doesn't accommodate or validate what you're doing. A lot of times we self-sabotage because we don't have the validation of others. And that's the crab mentality. I'm pulling you back down because this is the way the majority is thinking. So if the majority is thinking this way, evidently something is wrong with you. This is the standard. You should be grateful for what you have. Why are you trying to get more? You should be satisfied where you are. Is something wrong with that? And it's like, no, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with living a fulfilled life. And sometimes what is fulfilling to you, listen to this point, what is fulfilling to you is not fulfilling to someone else. I gave this example to my best friend one day. I'm like, someone may be fulfilled at making $50,000 a year. That is good. I'm great. This is where I've been working towards. This is good for me. But for someone else, that's not good enough for them. That doesn't make that other person greedy if they want to make 6 figures, or make that other person greedy if they want to make 7 figures. It's all about perspective and individual goals and individual mindsets. And I think a lot of times in that crab pot, because the crabs are okay being outside of the water, and it's like, well, we in the bucket, well, we together, well, we ain't in a pot, we ain't dead. And the other person who's trying to get out is saying, well, I'm not trying to become somebody crab legs. I'm not trying to become on somebody's plate. I want to get out because there's more that I want to do. And just because the majority wants to do that, that doesn't mean that I have to go along. This goes into the Bible too, if you want to get a little deeper with it. Is just because I don't follow the broad path and I choose to follow the narrow one. And that's what the Bible encourages us to do. Go on the narrow path, because the broad one leads to destruction. So think about this when you're thinking about what you want to do in life. How many times have you given up something and you called it a sacrifice? But in all actuality, it was self-sabotage. Because see, sacrifice has a comeback to it. If I sacrifice for this, that means I'm going to have a comeback. So meaning, like, when you pay your tithes, it's like you make a sacrificial offering. Well, if I make a sacrificial offering, there's a bountiful blessing that I'm going to get in return. But a lot of things you've been calling sacrifices, you haven't been seeing that bountiful blessing come back in return, because it wasn't a sacrifice. It was a self-sabotage. And so we do it because we feel bad, because we may have to walk that path alone. We do it because we don't get validated by other people who we wish would, encourage us. Or you get the people that you spend all your time trying to motivate and push other people to be better and to be great. And it's like, if I can get them to be better and be great, then, I won't feel bad about the business idea that I'm coming up with. I won't feel bad about, the money that I'm making. I won't feel bad about the success that I'm gaining. If I just push these people out and let them, get to a certain point, then I won't feel bad about what I want in life and what I want out of life. If I motivate and encourage and push this person, and I spend most of my time giving to everyone else, but when it comes to myself, I have nothing left for me. I basically neglect who I am to try to push other people. And we like to call that, oh, I just made that sacrifice. And it's like, no, you just self-sabotage. And you put yourself in a position where you don't do the things that you know that you should be doing. And you use those as excuses and be like, if I can just do this, then I'll do this. Or the people who just plan, but never produce. We spend all the time, I'm planning to do this, and, I'm just, I'm thinking about this, and I'm working on this, and once I get this, then, and every time it's another this, and another this, and then you eventually plan yourself out of something. You plan yourself out of the season. You plan yourself out of the thought. You think yourself out of what you're trying to do. Self-sabotage. It is a very familiar thing because, one, let's start that over. One, we don't want to be perceived as being greedy. And greedy is not wanting better for yourself. We put this greed when other people have a goal in life, they feel that their goal is the standard for everybody. So if you got this, you should be grateful. You should be grateful. You shouldn't be greedy. And it's like, no, that's what you desire to have. My desires are not your desires. So stop trying to make people see your desires when their desires are different from yours. And then you begin to sabotage and think, well, maybe I'm asking God for too much. And God's like, basically, you're not asking me for enough. You're not trying me for who I am. You're not testing me for who, You're not tasting and seeing how I'm good. And a lot of times you base your thing off of somebody else's perspective. And it's like, no, this walk that you have that I created you for, you're not fulfilling it because you're trying to walk somebody else's path and you have a path of your own. Another factor is we fail to realize the multitude of people who are dependent on us to fulfill things. Because imagine this, we look at this standard, this imaginary standard, that this is all you need. You shouldn't ask for more. And somebody a long time ago set this standard. We don't even know who it is, but it got passed down from generation to generation. You should be okay with this. Get your 9-to-5 job, get your retirement, get your 401k, and you good to go. That's what you should do. And we get your college education. You better than what I did. And we do all these things. And something within us is still not fulfilled. And so when we try to go for more, people begin to look like, well, why are you doing this? You should just do this. And it's like, no, baby, that was your path. That was what you wanted to do. That was your, it's not my job to follow your footsteps. It's my job to follow God's footsteps and God's plan. It says the step of a righteous man is ordered by God. But some of us are following ordered steps by a person or an environment or situations rather than following the steps of God and his plan that he has for us. And just because it doesn't look like somebody else's plan and just because it's not familiar, we begin to try to wipe out the footsteps that God is ordering for us and jump on another path that wasn't never designed for us. So please, if I could share anything with you today is, quit sabotaging the blessings that God has for you. Quit limiting yourself when God is so big and he said, I wanted you to have life and life more abundantly. When he said, if you do these things, then I'm going to open up a window and pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive it. When he said, I will give you the desires of your heart. Not your mama heart, not your homeboy heart, not your homegirl heart, not the pastor's heart, but your heart. And if you keep sabotaging things because it doesn't accommodate and because you're not validated by those around you, you're not following the steps that God has ordered for you. So please, break that glass ceiling. Kick your leg off down there and get out of that bucket with those other crabs. Please step outside of that revolving door. Stop self-sabotaging and begin to flourish. Break that ceiling, move forth, because self-sabotage, it's a thing. It's a thing, and it's disguised in so many different ways. It's disguised as a sacrifice. It's disguised as, I don't want to come off this way. It's disguised, I don't want to seem greedy. It's disguised in so many different ways. And it's like you're allowing something to prevent you from living the fulfilled life that God has ordered for you. And what's fulfilling to you and what God has for you is only for you. And what God has for somebody else is only for them. Stop trying to walk in the path of someone else and sabotaging the path that God has for you, because there's a multitude of people that's depending on you to walk in the right path. So, and you may say, well, I thought people should follow God's path and not yours. That is very true. Meaning, when people see that you're following the voice of God, it will encourage them to follow the voice of God. Not follow you, but follow the voice of God. Because they'll begin to ask you, how did you get here? What did you do? Hey, I followed the voice of God. I listened to God. I followed the steps that God prepared for me. Because when I did that, God gave me the desires of my heart. When I was obedient and paid my tithes, he opened up a window and poured me out a blessing that I didn't have enough room to receive it. I was grateful for it. And the more I was grateful and the more of a relationship that I had with him, the more he gave me, the more I gave others. And that cycle repeated. God gave to me so that I could give to others, and that cycle continued to repeat. See, that's the difference between when you allow God to pour into you, he gives you more than enough for yourself and also to pour into others. So if we set ourselves to this minimum statute, then what are we going to have for ourselves? Or what are we going to have for others? And 9 times out of 10, we end up pouring everything into everyone else and we have nothing left. And that's when you burn yourself out, because you're trying to live off of just enough, serving a more than enough God. That doesn't go that way. And God is saying, no, you know what? I'm giving you more than enough, so you can have enough for yourself, and so you can have enough for other people. But if you keep on shutting off the faucet before the cup is full, he said, your cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy. If you don't never allow your cup to run over, you'll always run out. I'll say that one more time. If you never allow your cup to run over, you'll always run out. And that's when you self-sabotage, cutting things off when it should have ran over. That's all I got for y'all today. Think about it. Quit self-sabotaging. Push. There's nothing too big and nothing too hard for God. Keep pushing forward. Stop self-sabotaging. Let God order your steps and stop walking in the steps of other people. And share this with somebody else so they can quit doing the same thing. And the more God gives to you, and the more he overflows in your life, that overflow will flow on you and flow off of you to the multitude of people that God assigned to you. And imagine that thing continuously going over and over again. All of the overflow, reaching the nations, people all across this land and country in this world. When God pours into you and you allow him to overflow in your life, to flow into the multitude of others. Quit self-sabotaging. That's what I had. So I hope you have an amazing day and an amazing week. And as always, make this your best day, because you never know if it's going to be your last. I'll talk to you guys really soon.